Going bankrupt wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. Sure, I lost my apartment, my car, and most of my dignity, but hey, life had a way of throwing unexpected surprises. Like, for example, a sketchy old man handing me a real-life invisibility cloak in exchange for my last cup of instant noodles. Some might call it a foolish trade. I call it a golden opportunity. And what was the first thing I did with my newfound power? Find a job? Rebuild my life? No. I snuck into Tyler's house. Why? Because I was bored. Tyler and I are rivals. No, there's no particular reason behind it. Tyler and I have been fighting over stupid things since school. That's all. And now that I was broke and homeless, messing with him felt like the only entertainment I had left. So there I was, tiptoeing through his house like a mischievous spirit, planning to rearrange his furniture or whisper creepy things in his ear while he slept. Classic stuff. But as I stepped into the hallway, Tyler suddenly emerged from the bathroom, hair dripping, steam rising off his toned body, and a towel hanging dangerously low on his waist. I froze, my brain short-circuited. What the hell? Who walks around like that in their own house? My face felt hot, my nose tickled. Then disaster struck. Damn, I cursed as I felt a violent gush from my nose. Tyler whipped around, eyes wide. What the hell was that? Panic set in. I was invisible, but my voice had given me away. No one, you must be hearing things, I blurted out, sounding like a liar caught mid-crime. Tyler paled. A ghost? No way, no way. There's no way I'm being haunted. I pay rent, I pay taxes. I even took out the trash today. I snorted. That was a lie. His trash can outside was overflowing. But before I could escape, crack! I tripped over a chair leg, crashing face first onto the floor. Tyler screamed. I groaned. He grabbed the nearest object, a hairdryer, and flung it straight at my head. I barely dodged. Ow, damn it, Tyler! He froze. You know my name? Oh, hell no. His towel slipped lower. Another glimpse of his abs. My nosebleed got worse. I was doomed. I clutched my nose in disbelief, feeling the warm trickle of blood between my fingers. This was bad. If I didn't stop the bleeding soon, Tyler might notice something weird. Well, weirder than a random voice screaming in his supposedly empty house. Spotting a roll of tissue on the nearby table, I launched myself towards it like a desperate fish out of water. Just grab it. Just grab it and everything will be fine. But fate had other plans. My foot caught on a chair leg, and I tripped hard. A bolt of pain shot up my shin, but I gritted my teeth and stayed silent. The mission was more important. With a trembling hand, I snatched the tissue roll and yanked. Big mistake. The more I panicked, the worse it got. The tissue unraveled at an ungodly speed, rolling across the floor in an elegant, mocking arc. Right to Tyler's feet. I froze. Tyler, now fully dressed, looked down at the tissue by his foot. Then, he looked up at the floating piece of tissue still clutched in my invisible hand. An eerie silence fell between us. My breath hitched. Tyler's eye twitched. Then, in the calmest, most chillingly serious voice I had ever heard, he picked up his phone and spoke directly into it. James, can I crash at your place? There's a ghost in my home. I can't stay here anymore. My jaw dropped. This idiot was trying to move out. Unfortunately for him, I could hear James' response even from here. Tyler was rejected. Tyler stood there, phone still in hand, completely abandoned. His gaze darted around the room, looking for a non-haunted corner to exist in. And for some inexplicable reason, I felt a pang of guilt. Tyler and I were infamous rivals in college. Sure, I always started our fights over the dumbest things, but was scaring him like this a little too cruel? The guilt lasted a grand total of 1 second. Then, Tyler clasped his hands together and muttered an actual prayer. All the gods above, please don't scare me. I have done good deeds all my life. I have good moral standards, and I am not suitable for this. If you must haunt someone, let me recommend someone else. A very bad premonition crawled up my spine. I turned my head just in time to see him pull out a small blue background ID photo. He smiled warmly. Too warmly. This guy, he said, voice sincere. This guy is perfect for haunting. He has an empty brain, forgets things quickly, and can be scared again the next day like it's the first time. He's the ideal target. I squinted. The photo looked familiar. I leaned in closer. And then I saw my own damn face. This bastard. Any trace of guilt I had? Gone. Tyler, congratulations. You just made me twice as committed to ruining your life. Food was the most important thing in life. That was my philosophy. And apparently even Tyler believed in it, because despite being scared out of his mind, the bastard still had the nerve to cook himself dinner. I hadn't eaten properly in days, and now here I was, standing in his kitchen, my stomach growling like a dying animal while the delicious smell of stir-fry filled the air. It was pure torture. I watched as Tyler moved around effortlessly, chopping, stirring, and plating the food like some five-star chef. I hated to admit it, but the guy knew how to cook. My mouth watered. No. I needed to stay strong. I was here for revenge, not food. Tyler picked up his chopsticks and took a bite. Screw it. At first, I tried to steal small bites when he wasn't looking. A piece of meat here, a spoonful of rice there, nothing too obvious. But after days of eating nothing but instant noodles and regret, my hunger completely took over. I devoured the food like a starved animal. I didn't even notice when Tyler stopped eating. Didn't even care when he froze in confusion. It was only after I leaned back, satisfied and full, that I realized Tyler was staring at his empty plate in complete horror. His chopsticks hovered midair. His face was completely blank, his brain clearly struggling to process what had just happened. He looked at his full plate, then at his now mysteriously empty plate, then at the table, then at the floating chopsticks still clutched in my invisible hand. I slowly dropped them. An eerie silence filled the room. Then, with dead seriousness, Tyler picked up his phone and dialed James. "There's a ghost," he said flatly. "It stole my food." The other end was silent. Then James burst into laughter. "Man, you really are something. Even if there's a ghost, you're a karate black belt. Just beat the hell out of it, okay?" Tyler didn't respond. He looked like a man who had lost all hope. James's voice came again, this time more serious. "By the way, do you have any idea where Ryan Demers went? After his bankruptcy, it's like he disappeared into thin air." I froze. Tyler frowned, running a hand through his hair. "I don't know. That bastard blocked me again. How dare he?" "Excuse me?" James chuckled. "Can you two stop acting like you're in a relationship and always quarreling?" "What the hell?" I almost choked on air. Since when did people think Tyler and I were in some weird lover's quarrel? But the worst part? Tyler didn't deny it. Instead, he just smiled and said, "Anyway, you seem drunk. I'm hanging up now." I felt a chill. What did that mean? Why didn't he refute it? Tyler tossed his phone aside and climbed into bed, but even though it was late, he didn't seem tired. Instead, he lay there, restless, his eyes darting around the room. I smirked. Look at this guy, completely paranoid. He's such a coward, it's almost cute. Wait, what the hell was I thinking? I shook my head and continued watching. After a while, Tyler sighed and sat up. He reached into his bedside drawer and pulled out a photo. Curious, I leaned in closer. Then my entire soul left my body. It was my photo, a sports day picture from last year, me grinning like an idiot after winning first place. I stared, completely dumbfounded. Why the hell did Tyler have my photo? Before I could process it, Tyler suddenly muttered, "Ryan, you bastard, where are you?" I jumped, thinking he had seen me, but no, he was staring at the photo. Then, in a low voice, he said, "You better unblock me within a day. Otherwise, I'll make public the incident of you drunkenly kissing me." I felt like I had been struck by lightning. What? When did that happen? Is this bastard trying to slander me? But what unnerved me even more was the way Tyler was looking at my photo, with an expression that was soft, intense, like he was looking at someone he missed. I gulped. What? Is this feeling? Before I could figure it out, Tyler sighed and, still holding my photo close to his heart, finally fell asleep. I stared at him, my thoughts spinning. I had to admit, Tyler was really handsome. Wait, what the hell was I thinking? I had seen enough. Tyler, hugging my photo in his sleep, murmuring my name like some long-lost lover? No thanks. This whole situation was way too bizarre, and I needed to get out of here before things got even weirder. I tiptoed toward the door, careful not to make a sound. But of course, because the universe hated me, My invisibility cloak got caught on the corner of his nightstand. I yanked it without thinking. Crash! A lamp tumbled to the floor, shattering into pieces. Tyler shot up like he'd been electrocuted. What the hell was that? I froze. Maybe, just maybe, if I didn't move, he wouldn't notice me. Wrong. Tyler grabbed the baseball bat from under his bed and stood up, eyes darting wildly around the room. All right, you damn ghost. I was willing to tolerate you stealing my food, but now you're wrecking my stuff? I swear I'll beat the afterlife out of you. I swallowed hard. Okay. New plan. Get out now. But as I took a step back, I caught sight of my reflection in the mirror across the room. And that's when I realized my invisibility was glitching. My right hand was fully visible, hovering in the air like some dismembered horror movie prop. Worse, parts of my face flickered in and out like a broken TV screen. I had two options. 1, stay completely still and pray Tyler had poor eyesight. 2, run for my life and risk exposing myself entirely. I chose the stupid one. I ran. Unfortunately, in my blind panic, I forgot about the chair. Thud! Who's there? Tyler yelled, swinging the bat in my direction. I barely rolled away in time. My invisibility flickered again, revealing half my arm. Tyler saw it and turned ghostly pale. He pointed at me, trembling. Oh my God, the ghost has a body! I scrambled backward, cursing under my breath. My legs flickered back into view. Tyler let out a strangled yelp. Nope, I'm out. He bolted for the door. In my panic, I grabbed his wrists to stop him. Big mistake. His entire body stiffened as he stared at my suddenly visible hand clutching him. Slowly, so painfully slow, I saw the realization dawn on his face. His eyes moved from my hand to my barely visible face. And then, Ryan? I wanted to die. Right there. Just collapse and disappear forever. Tyler blinked, then blinked again. Then, instead of screaming, instead of yelling, he laughed. A full-bodied, hysterical laugh. You mean to tell me, he wheezed, tears forming in his eyes, that the so-called ghost haunting my apartment was actually just you, being a dumbass? I scowled. I was not haunting you, I was just testing my invisibility powers. Tyler folded his arms, smirking. Oh, so stealing my food was part of the test? Yes, he sighed, shaking his head. You're unbelievable. But instead of throwing me out or demanding answers, he just grinned, like he was genuinely happy to see me. And that was somehow more terrifying than getting caught. I was so close. Just a few more steps, and I would have been out of here. But fate, or rather, Tyler, had other plans. Before I could reach the door, a strong hand yanked me back. My back hit the wall with a dull thud, and the next thing I knew, Tyler was right in front of me. I stiffened, way too close. His hand was braced against the wall beside my head, trapping me in place. His other hand gripped my wrist like a vice, ensuring I wouldn't pull another escape stunt. His lips curled into a smirk, completely enjoying my misery. And where do you think you're going? He asked, voice low and teasing. I swallowed hard. Home? You mean my home? He arched an eyebrow. You broke into my apartment, scared the hell out of me, stole my food, and now you want to leave? Just like that? I opened my mouth, trying to think of an excuse. Any excuse. But then he leaned in closer. Too close. I could see the amusement dancing in his dark eyes, could feel the warmth of his breath way too near my face. Besides, his smirk widened. Did you enjoy what you saw earlier? I blinked. What? Tyler chuckled. The bastard actually chuckled. You know, his grip on my wrist tightened slightly. Back when you broke into my house and got a nosebleed after seeing me half naked, my entire brain short-circuited. That was because of the temperature. Oh? Tyler tilted his head. So just looking at me gives you a reaction? My soul left my body. I had to get out of here. I tried to move, but he didn't budge. He was clearly enjoying this far too much. If that's the case, he continued, voice laced with pure mischief, you should have just told me. He leaned even closer, lips near my ear. We're all bros here, he whispered. I would have gladly let you watch. I wanted to dig a hole and bury myself alive. My face was on fire. Tyler, shut up. He laughed. Oh, come on. No need to be shy now. That was it. I needed to run or punch him. I jerked forward, attempting to push him away, but Tyler flipped the situation in an instant. He grabbed my other wrist, spun me around, and shoved me onto the couch. I blinked up at him, shocked and betrayed. What the hell? Tyler crossed his arms, grinning. You're not going anywhere until we talk. I scoffed. Talk about what? Everything. He plopped down on the chair across from me, looking at me with an unreadable expression. Like why you disappeared after going bankrupt. I froze. His gaze softened slightly. Ryan, I know you too well. You wouldn't just vanish without a reason. I swallowed, looking away. It's not a big deal. It is if you're crashing at your rival's place using an invisibility cloak instead of going home. I clenched my jaw. I just didn't want to deal with it, okay? Tyler studied me for a moment before sighing. You really are an idiot. Excuse me? You should have just come to me instead of pulling all this ghost nonsense. He smirked, but this time there was something softer in his eyes. After all, where else would you go? I scowled, ignoring the weird way my chest tightened at those words. Tyler stretched and got up. Well, whatever. Since you're here anyway, you're staying. What? You owe me, remember? For the food, the emotional trauma, and my almost heart attack. He grinned. So you're my guest/servant until further notice. Tyler. He ignored me and walked toward the kitchen. I'm making tea. You want some? At that exact moment, a silent notification flashed in my mind. Invisibility Cloak has run out of power. I stiffened. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. It was already late at night, and now that my only means of sneaking out unnoticed had failed me, I was effectively stuck here. With this smug bastard, I clenched my fists. This wasn't just a loss, this was humiliation. My so-called rival had completely gotten the upper hand, and he knew it. Tyler casually glanced back at me, smirking. Well, you want tea or not? I gritted my teeth. Fine, but make it quick. His smirk widened. As you wish, dear guest. I was going to strangle him. Just as I was processing my miserable fate, the doorbell rang. I stiffened. Tyler looked just as surprised. Who the hell was visiting at this hour? Then, a familiar voice came from outside. Open the door, Tyler. Didn't you say there's a ghost? Another voice chimed in, sounding way too enthusiastic. Yeah, we came to beat the hell out of it. We even left the party to come here since you were scared. The group erupted in laughter. I went pale. Tyler's annoying friends. A whole group of them. If these guys saw me here, in Tyler's house in the middle of the night, my reputation would be in ruins. Tyler rubbed his temples and groaned. There's no need for you people here. Leave. James scoffed. How can we leave after coming all the way here? I heard the sound of the door unlocking. Oh no. Like lightning, I bolted straight into Tyler's bedroom. The door swung open, and James and his merry band of idiots barged in. Didn't I tell you guys to leave? Tyler grumbled. Come on, a friend's house is our house, James said casually, making himself comfortable on the couch. Hey, let's continue our party here, someone suggested. Party? Here? In this tiny apartment? I peeked out from my hiding spot, watching in horror as a bunch of people plopped down at the table like they owned the place. Don't you dare mess up my house, Tyler warned. I just cleaned this morning. Okay, we'll just drink and talk. I highly doubted that. One guy leaned forward. So about that ghost you were talking about? I held my breath. Tyler smirked and crossed his arms. What do you think? Of course, it didn't stand a chance against me. After a fight, it completely submitted to me. Now it's my loyal servant. I gritted my teeth. This bastard was doing it on purpose. He knew I could hear him. James groaned. I knew you were just pulling my leg. The group laughed, and I had to fight the urge to march out there and throw hands. Then someone asked, Hey, do you guys know what happened to Ryan? We haven't heard from him since the bankruptcy. Tyler clicked his tongue. How would I know? I'm still on his blacklist. Oh, right. I did block him. For some stupid reason I didn't even remember. Seriously? He blacklisted you? You two fight all the time. If Ryan wasn't a guy, I'd seriously think you two were in a relationship. What? I almost choked on my own breath. What the hell was wrong with everyone? Tyler laughed, leaning back lazily. How could that be? I'm too good for someone like him. That was it. I clenched my fists, fuming. If my invisibility cloak was working, I would have walked out there and taught them all a lesson. But instead, I had to sit here, sulking like a ghost in my own grave. I couldn't take this anymore. Ignoring the laughter and nonsense, I flopped onto the bed and buried my face in the pillow. The second my head hit the mattress, my eyelids grew heavy. The last thing I heard was Tyler's smug laughter, before exhaustion dragged me into sleep. When I woke up, something felt off. First, I was warm, way too warm. Second, the pillow under my head wasn't a pillow. It was firm, steady, and wait, Pillows don't breathe. A sinking feeling formed in my gut as I cracked one eye open. And there, right in front of me, was Tyler. Sleeping. Next to me. Correction, I was practically wrapped around him. My whole body tensed in horror. My arm was around his waist, my leg casually slung over his like we were some kind of couple. The worst part? He looked comfortable. For a second, I considered just going back to sleep and pretending none of this was real. Maybe I was hallucinating. Maybe I was still dreaming. But then Tyler stirred, his brows furrowing slightly as he mumbled, "So warm," and pulled me closer. I nearly had a heart attack. I moved an inch. Big mistake. His grip tightened, and before I could even attempt to escape, his eyes fluttered open. Drowsy at first. Then, realization dawned. A slow, smug grin spread across his face. "Morning, sweetheart." Sweetheart? I launched myself off the bed so fast that I lost balance and hit the floor with a loud thud. Pain shot through my back, but it was nothing compared to the sheer humiliation threatening to kill me on the spot. Tyler stretched lazily, his smirk growing as he propped himself up on one elbow. "Slept well?" Before I could unleash my wrath upon him, the bedroom door swung open with a loud bang. "Tyler." It was James. I froze. James froze. His gaze flickered between me, half on the floor, looking like I'd just committed a crime, and Tyler, who was still lounging in bed, looking entirely too pleased with himself. Silence. Then, "Did I interrupt something?" I felt my soul leave my body. "Hell no!" I shouted, scrambling to my feet. "This is not—" "I wasn't." James raised an eyebrow, clearly enjoying every second of this. "Man, you disappear for days, and now I find you waking up in Tyler's bed. Should I be concerned or congratulate you?" I was going to pass out. Tyler, the actual devil, just shrugged. He insisted on staying. I whipped around to glare at him. "You?" James smirked, crossing his arms. "I knew you two were close, but this is next level." I choked. "We are not—" Yeah. James waved me off. "Anyway, I came to check if you were still alive. Now that I know you're in good hands, I'll be going." He turned to leave, but paused at the doorway. "Oh, and Ryan?" He grinned. "If you're going to make this a habit, at least take him on a date first." The door shut before I could throw something at him. The room was silent again. I turned to Tyler, who was still smirking. I wanted to throw something, preferably Tyler out the window. Tyler chuckled. Well, that was fun. I turned my head to glare at him. "I hate you." His smirk widened. "You sure about that?" I had no words, just rage. Tyler leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, smirking like the devil himself. "Why are you acting like that?" "I'm the victim here," he said, feigning innocence. I shot him a look. "You're the victim?" Tyler raised an eyebrow. "Let's go over the facts, shall we? You snuck into my house. You watched me change clothes. You spied on me in the middle of the night. What's next, Ryan? Should I start locking my doors?" I should have known you had ulterior motives towards me. His words were sharp, cutting straight through my patience. My stomach twisted in anger. I knew it. I just knew that once this bastard caught me, he'd twist the truth, making me out to be some kind of pervert. I scowled. "Don't you dare slander an innocent man." "Innocent?" Tyler scoffed. "You literally had a nosebleed watching me change." A chill ran down my spine. Oh, I did have a nosebleed. My mind flashed back to that humiliating moment, the sight of him fresh out of the shower, water dripping down his toned, nope. Shut it down. My jaw clenched. There was no way I was going to let this bastard get the upper hand. Fury ignited inside me, and without thinking, I swung a punch at his smug face. Tyler dodged effortlessly, stepping back with a smirk. "Oh, angry out of shame? You can deny it all you want, but why resort to violence?" I clenched my fists. "Shut the hell up, Tyler. And besides," he continued, voice dripping with amusement, "I already told you. If you wanted to see me shower, you just had to ask. Is all this sneaking around really necessary?" I saw red. This bastard definitely held grudges. I charged at him again, fists flying. He blocked, countered, and before I knew it, we were brawling. Punches, kicks, dodging, grappling. It was chaos. We crashed into furniture, knocked over a lamp, and nearly took out a chair. At some point, I vaguely registered the fact that I was enjoying this. Fighting Tyler was cathartic. After what felt like forever, we finally collapsed onto the floor, gasping for breath. Sweat dripped down my forehead, my muscles ached, but at least I had burned off some of the absolute rage this man inspired in me. Tyler, lying beside me, turned his head with a lazy grin. "Feel better?" I glared at him. He stretched, then casually said, "Well, I'm fair. You saw me." He turned to me with a slow, devilish smirk. "Now it's my turn to see you." My brain short-circuited. Before I could even process that horrifying statement, he actually tried to push past me towards the bathroom. I barely managed to block his path, slamming my back against the door. "Tyler, get lost." He laughed, stepping back with his hands up in surrender. "Relax, I'm just joking." I did not trust him. Slamming the door shut, I locked it and exhaled sharply, resting my forehead against the cool wood. What the hell was happening to me? I turned the faucet on, splashing cold water on my face. Okay, time to think. For as long as I could remember, I was straight as an arrow. Never, ever had I looked at a guy that way. But then last night and this morning, I had a nosebleed because of Tyler. That was not normal. Not normal. At all. My stomach twisted with unease. Could it really be like Tyler said, that I had ulterior motives towards him? I froze at the thought. No, absolutely not. That would be the end of me. I shook my head furiously. Get a grip, Ryan. And yet, my mind would not let it go. Instead, it kept replaying last night. The way his damp hair clung to his forehead, the way his muscles flexed as he dried himself off, the way his lips curled when he smirked. I slammed my fist against the sink. What the hell? I was losing my damn mind. Tyler was my rival. And yet, I was looking at him like I cut off the thought before I could even finish it. My heart pounded as realization sank in. I was in deep trouble. At breakfast, I was downcast, mourning my complete downfall. I had spent so much time wrestling in the shower with a horrifying realization I might actually like Tyler. Like him. And now, here I was, sitting across from him, feeling sorry for the poor guy. Tyler, a straight man, was completely unaware he had become my accidental target. He had the looks, the charisma. Girls threw themselves at him. But it wasn't just girls. Guys had confessed too, and Tyler had always rejected them in the most straightforward way. No hesitation, no consideration, just a clean, brutal, not interested. He was as straight could be, the ultimate straight bastard. If he ever found out what was going on in my head, we wouldn't just be rivals anymore. We'd be actual enemies. I felt like I had a bone stuck in my throat. Tyler, noticing my miserable state, raised an eyebrow. "What's with that ugly expression? You look like you're heartbroken in a relationship." "What?" I nearly choked on my coffee. I wasn't even in a relationship yet, and I was already heartbroken? I glared at him, but Tyler just continued eating, completely unbothered. Though, bastard or not, he had his good points. When he found out about my family's financial disaster, he had casually thrown me an offer. "Call me Daddy, and I'll take care of you." I had responded with a deadpan, "Get lost." Tyler, unbothered, simply nodded at his phone. "Fine, I'll get lost. But can you at least take me off your blacklist?" "Stop with the blacklisting. It's like we're an old couple having a fight." In the past, I wouldn't have thought much of a joke like that. But now it felt like it hit too close to home. "I can't unblock you," I muttered, shoving more food into my mouth. My phone fell into the sewer. Tyler blinked. All right, we ate in silence for a while before I couldn't resist probing. "Tyler," I started cautiously, "remember last semester when that guy confessed to you?" Tyler barely glanced up. "Yeah, what about it?" "Are you still in touch with him?" He didn't even hesitate. No way. I felt like an arrow had struck my chest. "Why?" Tyler finally looked up, frowning. "What do you mean, why? I rejected him." I forced out a dry laugh. "Well, yeah, you two were bros. Of course you wouldn't agree." Tyler's eyes locked onto me. Something about his stare made my stomach twist. Trying to brush off the awkwardness, I quickly added, "If it were me, I wouldn't agree either." The moment the words left my mouth, I knew I had royally screwed up. Tyler's face darkened instantly. The air around us turned ice cold. He put down his utensils, his expression unreadable. A long, tense silence stretched between us. Then, in a voice far too calm, he said, "Ryan." I swallowed. "If you don't have those kinds of feelings," he continued, his tone eerily quiet, "then don't tease others lightly." Then, with a hint of frustration, he added, "You're really annoying." I froze. Tyler grabbed his coat, stood up, and left without another word, and I just sat there, staring at my half-eaten breakfast, suddenly losing all appetite. Tyler returned late that night, holding a new phone in his hand. Without a word, he shoved it at me. "Use this for now," he said, voice devoid of warmth. Before I could even respond, he continued, There's a service center downstairs where you can get a new SIM card. Then came the final blow, one that made my stomach twist uncomfortably. You can stay at my place for the next few days. His tone was stiff, distant. Don't worry. I won't be coming back. I stared at him, my frustration reaching its peak. What the hell do you mean by this? I demanded. Tyler was avoiding me. We'd fought before, argued, insulted each other, even thrown punches, but none of our conflicts had ever felt like this. This was something else. Something worse. I called after him as he turned to leave, but he didn't stop. The sound of the door slamming shut echoed through the room, leaving behind an eerie silence. I scratched my head in frustration. Damn it. True to his word, that bastard didn't come back for several days. I tried calling him, but every time he answered with a curt, "Bastard, leave me alone," before hanging up. That night, feeling restless, I found myself scrolling through Tyler's social media. There, I saw a newly posted video, Tyler chugging alcohol, his Adam's apple bobbing up and down with every gulp. I stared. And then I swallowed reflexively. And that's when it hit me. I was an absolute pervert. He saw me as a bro, but I wanted to kiss him. I'm a beast. His neck was so white. I groaned, burying my face in my hands. Before I could spiral any further, a sudden knock at the door startled me. I frowned. Tyler wasn't home, and he lived alone. Who could it be at this hour? I hesitated before opening the door. James stood there, smiling like he had all the time in the world. "Got a moment to talk?" he asked casually. I blinked at him. "James?" I thought he came to discuss something important, maybe business or some ridiculous drama. But no, I wasn't prepared for what he actually wanted to talk about. James leaned against the sofa, his smile unwavering. "Actually, there's nothing much," he said, tone light. "I just wanted to tell you something." I narrowed my eyes. James and I weren't exactly close, so I had a feeling this was about Tyler. James was known as a smiling tiger, always grinning when saying the most outrageous things, just like now. He smiled and said something that made my entire existence collapse. "It's about you drunkenly kissing Tyler." What? My brain short-circuited. What? James chuckled. "Seems like Tyler didn't tell you about it." I stared at him, mouth dry, my mind scrambling for any sort of explanation. Tyler knew about this. Tyler remembered this. And I had absolutely no memory of it. A fragmented thought surfaced in my mind. The night I first snuck into Tyler's house, he had muttered something to himself while looking at his phone. "Ryan, you better unblock me within a day. Otherwise, I'll make public the incident of you drunkenly kissing me." At the time, I thought he was slandering me, but it was actually true? I gripped my head, feeling like the world was spinning. "Did I really kiss him?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. James, the ever-so-helpful devil, nodded, quite passionately. I almost keeled over. I forced myself to ask, "Didn't Tyler resist?" James stroked his chin, pretending to think. "Half-heartedly?" I gawked at him. I wanted to ask more, but James cut me off with a grin. "You really don't remember any of it?" He leaned back. "But don't ask me for too many details. I'm not shameless enough to stare at you two." I had no words, only sheer unbearable embarrassment. James kept smiling, his expression unreadable. "Tyler's been hanging out at the bar these past few days," he said casually, "getting drunk every night." That single sentence made my stomach clench. "I can tell something's off," James continued, leaning back on the couch, "although I don't quite understand it." His gaze flickered toward me, sharp yet amused. "But as Tyler's bro, I still wanted to talk to you." I swallowed. "Talk about what?" James shrugged. "He might not show it, but he bites the hook easily. If you really don't have feelings for him, then don't tease him." His words felt like a punch to the gut. Something in me snapped. I shot to my feet. "I do. Of course I have those feelings. How could I not?" James's smile froze. The atmosphere turned thick with awkwardness. Damn, I hadn't meant to blurt it out like that, but there was no taking it back now. Not that I wanted to, because it was true. I liked Tyler. I really liked him. I clenched my fists, forcing my voice to steady. "Where's Tyler now?" Inside the dimly lit bar, Tyler sat slumped in a corner, silently chugging alcohol. His expression was unreadable, but there was something unsettling about the way he drank, like he wasn't just enjoying the buzz, but drowning in it. Watching him like that, a strange sense of sadness settled in my chest. At the same time, he looked incredibly attractive. His sharp features softened slightly under the warm glow of the bar lights, his exposed collarbone peeking through the loose neckline of his shirt. How had I never realized it before? Tyler was exactly my type. I took a deep breath. No more running away. I was going to clear things up tonight. Without hesitation, I strode straight over and grabbed his wrist. Tyler glanced up, looking dazed. Ryan? I didn't waste a second. I have feelings for you, I said, voice firm. I really like you. Tyler, mid-sip, choked on his drink. He coughed violently, his eyes wide in disbelief. You? What? Afraid he hadn't heard me clearly over the noise, I raised my voice. I said, I'll take responsibility for you. Tyler stilled. Not just Tyler. Everyone around us stilled. I felt the weight of multiple stares pressing in from all sides. Patrons had turned in their seats, whispering, watching the spectacle unfold with curious and amused expressions. Even the bartender looked intrigued. Damn it. I awkwardly turned my head, meeting a sea of questioning gazes. Tyler's face darkened, his lips pressing into a thin line. Before he could say anything, I gritted my teeth and yanked him to his feet. We're leaving, I muttered. Still gripping his wrist, I dragged him out of the bar, away from the prying eyes and the suffocating noise. The area outside the bar was quiet. A street lamp overhead cast a warm, golden glow on Tyler's face, accentuating the sharp angles of his features. He smelled of alcohol, but his usually relaxed demeanor was noticeably restrained. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Tyler's gaze met mine, and his lips parted slightly. Ryan, what do you mean by taking responsibility? I know about the drunken incident. Tyler's eyelashes trembled slightly before he turned away, his voice flat. If you felt guilty about that and want to take responsibility, it's unnecessary. I froze. It was rare to see Tyler like this, despondent, distant. There's no need to feel guilty, he muttered. Just forget it. Forget it? Like hell I would. I clenched my fists. I had come here for a reason. I wasn't going to let things end in some stupid misunderstanding. Tyler. I called his name firmly. He turned, looking slightly wary. The moment he did, I shoved him against the wall. His eyes widened, but before he could say a word, I kissed him. I didn't want to hear anything I didn't like, so I shut him up the only way I knew how. I came here with a purpose, and I wasn't going to run away anymore. Tyler's lips were softer than I expected. They fit against mine perfectly, like they were made to be kissed. A strange warmth spread through my chest, tightening around my heart. But before I could process it, a sudden noise startled me. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Panicked, I pushed Tyler away as if we'd been caught doing something forbidden. For some reason, I felt like we were a pair of secret lovers having an affair. I wasn't sure if I imagined it, but in that split second, I thought I heard something. A laugh. Low, quiet, Tyler's laugh. I didn't have time to dwell on it because someone had appeared. A girl. She was looking directly at Tyler, a hopeful expression on her face. Can I have your contact info? Under the streetlight, Tyler's features looked particularly striking. He regarded her for a moment before shaking his head. Sorry, but no. The girl blinked. Why? Tyler exhaled lightly. Then, with a casual yet firm tone, he replied, My lover wouldn't allow it. The words hit me like a punch to the chest. The girl hesitated before finally walking away, looking disappointed. I, however, was frozen in place. It had been a while since she left, and I still hadn't processed what Tyler had just said. My lover wouldn't allow it. My brain short-circuited. Tyler turned to me, watching me intently. Wasn't that what you said? I snapped out of my daze. Huh? What did I say? Tyler took a step closer, his gaze dark and unreadable. That you would take responsibility for me. I opened my mouth, but before I could respond, Tyler grabbed my wrist. In the next moment, he pushed me against the wall. His hand pressed firmly against my side. His face was so close, I could feel his breath against my skin. Ty. My words were cut off by another kiss. Tyler kissed me fiercely, his lips moving with a confidence that sent my heart racing. Unlike my sudden, panicked kiss earlier, his was deliberate, slow, deep, and utterly consuming. The scent of him overwhelmed me, his presence surrounding and dominating me. I was lost, and then I realized I had always been lost in him. From the first time I saw his lips, I thought my urge to shut him up was just irritation. Turns out that impulse had been something else entirely, a desire to kiss him. Even though Tyler and I were together now, I wasn't ready to make it public yet. But Tyler, Being Tyler was making it very difficult. He kept dropping hints, making sly remarks, and flashing smug little smirks that made everyone around us suspicious. I had to physically stop him at one point. "Why is our relationship a secret?" he finally asked, raising an eyebrow. I sighed, already expecting this conversation. "We'll make it official once we graduate, okay?" Tyler didn't look convinced, but after a long pause, he reluctantly agreed. For now. The bankruptcy crisis had temporarily passed, and I was called back home to deal with some important matters. I was swamped with work, drowning in responsibilities, and before I knew it, weeks had passed without seeing Tyler. It was frustrating. Things were finally settling down again, and I could finally go back to living as before. That's when I realized Tyler's birthday was coming up. The night before his birthday, something suddenly crossed my mind. My invisibility cloak. It had recharged. A slow grin spread across my lips. For the second time, I snuck into Tyler's house, and by sheer coincidence, history repeated itself. Tyler was taking a shower, I smirked. This time I can openly spy on him. As Tyler stepped out of the bathroom, steam curling around his body, I was hit with the realization that maybe it was the lover's filter. But damn. Tyler looked even more tempting than last time. Unlike before, this time I could do as I pleased. My gaze flickered to his wrist. Something was missing. Something that could bind him. I rummaged through his cabinets until I found something useful. A black rope. Perfect. Tyler was busy drying his hair when he suddenly noticed the rope hovering in midair. It moved on its own, binding his wrists together. He watched quietly, not resisting, not even surprised, just amused. I pushed him onto the sofa. He smelled amazing, fresh from the shower, a mix of soap and something inherently him. I inhaled greedily, leaning closer. Robbery. Tyler was especially cooperative, his lips curving into a teasing smile. "What should I do?" he mused. "All I have is myself." I arched an eyebrow. "Then I'll take you." Tyler's smile deepened. I had wanted to do this for so long, pushing him down, claiming those lips that had always looked so damn kissable. Our lips met lightly at first, but the sensation sent a tingling warmth throughout my entire body. Tyler murmured against my lips, voice laced with amusement. "Ryan, I really like you." I didn't hesitate. I continued kissing him, my voice breathless but certain. "I like you too." Just as our kiss was heating up, we suddenly heard hurried footsteps approaching the door, followed by some very familiar voices. "Why knock? Doesn't James have the key?" "Yeah, surprises are better when you just walk in." There was a pause. Then James hesitated. "I think we shouldn't—" "Oh, come on. It's almost midnight. Give it to me, I'll do it." Tyler and I froze. For the first time in my life, I saw fear on Tyler's face. "Don't," he started. Too late. The unmistakable sound of a key turning echoed through the apartment. Our eyes widened in horror as the door swung open, and at that exact moment, my invisibility cloak failed. With a loud bang, confetti poppers exploded in the air. James and a horde of nosy idiots stormed in, shouting in unison, "Happy birthday, Tyler!" The celebration was short-lived, because then they actually looked at us. Tyler was pinned beneath me on the sofa, his wrists bound with a black rope. I was straddling him, wearing a transparent cloak that did absolutely nothing to hide my presence. Both our lips were very red. The room fell into an unnatural silence. James, usually the composed one, was the first to speak. His voice was hoarse. Sorry, we came at a bad time. I didn't know you were." Chen Yu, standing next to him, finished weakly. "Like this." As if on cue, the group echoed, "We didn't see anything." I was too mortified to move. The entire gang slowly backed out of the apartment, closing the door behind them. But outside, their voices erupted. Damn. What did I just see? Ryan and Tyler? Tell me this isn't real. Tyler said he was in a relationship. Don't tell me it's Ryan. James's voice boomed over them. Keep it down. I told you not to be reckless when opening the door. Let's leave now. Someone lamented loudly. I really regret not listening to you. Another friend sighed. In a way, those two are equally bastard. Quite a match. Silence finally returned to the apartment. I was still frozen. A lifetime of reputation. Gone. Destroyed. Forever. My face burned hotter than the sun. Tyler, on the other hand, was completely unbothered. He gazed up at me, his lips curving into a smirk. His voice was husky when he murmured, "They're gone. Shall we continue?" I snapped out of my daze, appalled. You bastard! How was he still in the mood after that humiliation? I scrambled to stand up, but before I could escape, Tyler yanked me back down. At some point, he had untied the black rope. Now he wrapped it loosely around his fingers, eyes never leaving mine. His smirk deepened. Your game is over. Then, with one swift movement, he grabbed my wrist. Isn't it time for my game to start? I barely managed. Tyler, you... The rest of my words were swallowed whole. Because Tyler shut me up in the most effective way possible.